So there's that thing about poison ivy, leaves of 3, not for me, but those leaves have mittens. The individual like leaflets have little mittens. Haven't seen poison ivy out here yet. If I see it, I'll point it out. But if your leaves are all smooth like this and it's 3, it's probably in the pea or the bean family. And in fact, this has a pea flower, and if you were in my class, I'd tell you all about how this looks like a butterfly and has all these special structures, but it'll actually make a bean. And these beans are super annoying because these are the ones that get stuck all over your socks. You know, you get like a row of them, and then you go to pick it off, and they break off one at a time. So this is, that's beggar ticks. This is beggar weed. This is beggar weed. Got any other? Oh, I see that yellow one down there. All right, let me move this here. Oh, good. So, one of the really common plants that are along these shorelines is called cowpea. So it's another pea, and if you look at, like, if you grow green beans at home or any other like snap peas or anything, they all the peas have this kind of flower. So the guy who first described it thought it looked like a butterfly, so he called it papillon, which is French for butterfly. But anyway, so they all have that. And then I don't know if we have any actual beans.
Just the mimosa flower?
Yep. Look, there's your beans. So there's your beans coming off of your cowpea. So this one is, you're definitely going to find when you come out here because it's all over. Interestingly, this sensitive vine that you found over there is also in the pea family, but it obviously doesn't have that pea flower. But it'll still make little beans when it's done fruiting. So you got the sensitive leaves down here. They get less sensitive over time as you touch them all the time, and then they get that pretty little thing. So you can actually do your entire yard with that instead of grass, because it stays real low. You never have to mow it. It's pretty cool. All right, cowpea, sensitive vine. There's your beggar tick. Here's that beggar weed. This one is kind of neat because it has like 2 different colors of green on the leaf, and then this is the one that gets all that sticks to you. We do have ragweed, which I think is actually just myth, that people are more like, if you're allergic to ragweed, you might be allergic to the family of this plant, like, which is the actually sunflowers, but most people really aren't allergic to ragweed like they say. What else have we got? Lots of this crabgrass. This is all these with the like real fingery grasses or crabgrass. I'd like to get where we can see some mangroves right here. Ah, here we go. Another really common thing along the shoreline is sea oxeye, like an ox, like it is sea oxeye daisy. So again, another sunflower relative. And this is kind of cool. It's got these gray hairs all over it. And plants have hairs, not exactly like ours, but they get all these different surfaces on them from all these little hairs. So this is gray because it has these miniature little fuzzy hairs on it. And that sort of helps it deal with the salt in the air, and it helps it from drying out and all those other things. So we've got sea oxeye daisy. And then we've got our really important stuff. We've got our black mangroves. So you can tell black mangroves, one, they've got, you guys have ever seen those little fingers that come up from underneath the mangroves? So that's where the black mangrove comes from. What am I looking at?
There's one hanging.
Oh, good, good, all right. So these guys have these special adaptations for dealing with the salt in the environment. So black mangroves have white undersides. That's how I always remember that, blacks or white. And then if you lick it, you can taste that that's salt. So next time you come out, not under our supervision, you lick it and you can taste the salt and then freak your parents out. They'll, what are you doing? So that's black mangrove. And then another important one is red mangrove. And red are what you call the marching soldiers. So see these, see how they've got like feet that are coming out. So they'll have branches come out and then they got these feet that grow out, and that's to help them settle in that mud, because if you walk out there in that mud, it's real easy to tip and fall and all that. Neat thing about red mangroves is they grow their babies on the mature plant before they let them go. So right here, this was the flower. You can see the remnants of the flower. This was the fruit, and now the fruit has germinated, and this is the root of the plant. And then this will get blown around in a windstorm, and eventually it'll fall off. And the cool thing about this is this end is heavier than this end. So it'll be floating along, and then this will sort of slough off too, but it'll float along, and then if it gets shallow enough, because this end is heavier, it'll get stuck in some mud, and then the wave action will just sort of work it back and forth, and it'll kind of plant itself into the ground. And then so long as there's not a huge storm, this will grow into a brand new red mangrove and start a whole new system. So that's why these things are so important for our shoreline. They kind of consolidate all that mud. They're the very few things that can grow in that directly in that salt water.